You can't handle my truth. Part 3, the summary. Welcome. You've just tuned in for the latest transmission of Rice Against the Grain. Give me a 5x5 if you can hear me. We're going to get started in just moments. Going to give everybody time to get situated in today's live stream. Smash that like button. Everything we talk about will be linked down below. Thank you for that 5x5. Make sure you're checking out part 1 and part 2. They're not short videos, but I cover everything in full detail.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Before we get into it, take time to visit my website at ricetvx.com. There you can sign up for my mailing list so you can stay up to date on all things Rice. Once you've signed up for my mailing list, you will find links for my channels and socials towards the top of the website. Make sure you are subscribed to both my YouTube channels, Rice Against the Grain and Rice TVX. If you want to support my work directly, as well as get early access, exclusive content for both channels, plus more, join my Patreon. Cheers. Thank you for tuning in for today's live stream. I greatly appreciate you joining me. Make sure you're subscribed here at Rice Against the Grain, as well as my other channel, Rice TVX. I put out an awesome interview a couple of days ago with an ex-IRS special agent, Joe Bannister. You can find that on Rice TVX, as well as other videos you might have missed. I definitely encourage you to check those out. So I'm going to try to keep this summary as short and sweet as possible. After I'm done covering the majority of what I want to cover, I will share something towards the end of the video, and then I will look at the live chat at the end of the video, or towards the end of what I'm going to be talking about. I want to make sure that I'm focusing 100% on this and not being distracted. And with that being said, if you like what I'm talking about, this summary, part 1 and part 2, you definitely need to be checking out in full detail. They're not short videos. I got a playlist down below in the video description. Looking at this, it's like 5 hours for part 1 and part 2. But I go into everybody who I've interviewed. I go into all the people I endorse, all the people I do not endorse, and why, as well as a lot of other information. I'm going to be trying to summarize that as best I possibly can on today's show. Before we begin, if you want to support the channel, I will have some information scrolling across the bottom of the screen in various forms. But what I'm going to share is some information about my partnership with My Patriot Supply. So they just changed up the deal that's being offered this month. You could take advantage of this by visiting prepwithrice.com. That is prepwithrice.com. You have to use that link to be able to take advantage of these deals, and also as a way to support both Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain, and it would be greatly appreciated. So again, prepwithrice.com. You can see the information scrolling on the bottom of the screen. This month's deals, they are offering a 3-month emergency food kit as normal, the 3-month emergency food kit will also include a $200 survival gear. That will include a Vesta self-powered indoor space heater and stove by Instafire, 2,400 calorie emergency ration bars by Ready Hour, a 4-in-1 solar flashlight and AM FM weather radio with hand crank by Ready Hour, waterproof matches, and a 3-month emergency food supply by Ready Hour. All this is $797. It's usually $1,000. This is going to be roughly $800. You can take advantage of this deal on prepwithrice.com. And there's also a 2-week emergency food kit that is going for $127. As you scroll down on prepwithrice.com, you'll see information about the survival gear that's being offered. So I encourage you to take advantage of my partnership. And we'll go ahead and get this thing rolling into the content we're going to be talking about on today's video. Again, if you haven't taken time to smash that like button, I would greatly appreciate if you would take an opportunity to hit that like. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this thing going. I do appreciate everybody for tuning in. I do want to acknowledge the people that are here with us right now. Dime Bar, thanks for joining. Cheryl Williams, Ronnie, it's always good to see you in the house. Happy hump day to you. The Federal Reserve is going to be giving some information here, probably while I'm doing this live stream. If you guys would like to join my Patreon channel, there is the Patreon link. Once the private website is built, I will be phasing out my Patreon, but I will be keeping my Patreon up for at least 90 days after I launch the website. So if you join my Patreon, only do it on a month-to-month basis. All right, so I shared the playlist that has part 1 and part 2 where I go over all this information in full detail. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about, let me go ahead and go back to full screen for a moment. Referring back to my notes, the first thing that I have to say is, I definitely need to do a better job of vetting people, because there's been several people that I've brought on my show that I've interviewed that I've had to take the interviews down because I no longer support or endorse them, either for personal reasons or for reasons of them harming other people. With that being said, I also want to say I put up a disclaimer every single video that I do, and you can read it. A lot of people don't take time to read it. But just because I bring a guest on a show, on one of my channels, it doesn't mean that I support or endorse them. Can I not bring somebody on so I could try to learn some information? So again, just because somebody's on the show doesn't mean that I support them or endorse their message or anything to that effect. But I am doing a better job when it comes to the legal fiction of vetting people, making sure I'm talking to these individuals, researching, having other people research, and make sure that I'm fact checking that these people are, as far as I can tell, on the up and up and trying to do the right thing. If you guys can hear some noise outside of my place, I apologize. It's extremely cold for whatever reason here in the Rice Cave, and outside we got some construction, and we also have some lawn maintenance happening. So hopefully that's not coming through. Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention is the different types of people that get involved with the legal fiction. So what am I doing here? I'm summarizing my research for several years into the legal fiction, into the law studies, into the land, air, and water, and my interviews and my interactions with these teachers and gurus. I can only speak for the people that I've spoken with and that I have direct communication with, and that's what I want to be doing, and that's what I have been doing. So when it comes to the legal fiction, there are different types of people, in my opinion, that search out for this information. There are those that are in some sort of legal trouble, that have gotten in some sort of trouble with the law. There are those with CPS issues, Child Protective Services, whether their fault or not their fault. There are those that are just simply greedy and want access to some sort of trust account, some unlimited currency that they can just think they can buy everything they want, have a multi-million-dollar bank account. And then there are those who are genuinely interested in learning for the sake of learning, who are willing to put in the work to do so. That's me. I'm not in any sort of legal problems. I've gotten a lot of my stuff throughout my problems in my life situated, and I'm doing this the right way. Now, with that being said, I'm going to be changing a lot of how I operate moving forward. I'm going to be operating as far as the legal fiction law studies a lot more into private. I will be doing public interviews. As a matter of fact, I have one that's going to be coming out tomorrow with a gentleman by the name of Luke Scott. He's actually the first person that went through my vetting process. That video is available right now on Patreon for early access, unedited, and it will also be available, or is available, for private members. Before I continue on, I will let you know about the private membership that I'm doing. I'll have some information up on the screen here. If you'd like to get lifetime access, actually, let me change this up because we hit the number of 50. I'm going to open it up 10 more people. So let me make sure I put that. 60 people will get lifetime access and a special gift. 10 spots are left. Only have so many characters in these things, so hit the max. All right, so here he is. It's on the screen. If you want to get lifetime access to my private website, I've talked to developers. I'm trying to finalize the developers. The person that I had that was going to do the work for me ended up telling me it was going to be at least 30 days before his company could even get to the development. So I'm aiming to have this thing done as soon as possible, but I'm opening up 10 more spots. If you want lifetime access to my private website, I'm doing a fundraiser. 10 spots are open. You get lifetime access and a special gift. It's a swag bag of Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain swag. And you email Rice Media Group at protonmail.com. Put lifetime in the subject line. That's all for $100. I've got stickers. I've got pens. I've got this promotional wooden nickel. And I'll show you guys the wooden nickel. I'll be passing these out in Miami at Bitcoin 23. This is the only thing that I got more than 100 printed of. So that will be included, but these are my favorites. These are the patches that I've got. They're about 2x2 in size. The Rice TVX, the blue, glows in the dark, and it's very bright. And they're both made of PVC, so they kind of have a texture to them. And they have the Velcro backing, so you can stick it to anything with Velcro. I'm going to be, once I get the next 10 people finalized, in the next week and a half or 2 weeks, I'll be mailing out all the swag bags to all the private members. But there are 10 spots that are open. Okay. So I'm going to be changing how I'm operating moving forward. I'm going to be doing a lot more into private. We're going to, we definitely need to be focusing on private versus public, the things that you can say publicly and the things that you should and need to keep private. So a lot of the interviews that I'm going to be doing, especially ones where people are charging for a membership or anything to that effect, I'm going to be doing those interviews in the private. I don't want to bring those interviews in any sort of public fashion because I don't want to endorse or support something that I haven't necessarily looked into. But I'm trying to make sure I'm vetting these people. And I'm going to be cautious about the entities that are charging. Not that I'm against somebody that charges. I definitely agree that people should be able to monetize their research, their work, especially if it's helpful to other people. But when I go through some of the people I don't endorse, you'll understand why I have to do this vetting process. And if you've been on this journey with me for the past several years and you've seen all the different people I've interviewed and all the people that I've had to distance myself from, you completely understand and relate. And I'll be sharing a lot more information privately. So I definitely encourage you guys, I mean, along with the videos that'll be available, early access, and the exclusive content, I will also have a forum and a way for us to be able to communicate on this website as well. All right. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was the teachers. And then again, this is just my opinion based off my years of research, interviews, and interactions with these individuals. The teachers, the gurus in the legal fiction law movement, the redemption movement, whatever you want to call it. There are those who I feel are controlled opposition that are teaching wrong information purposefully, that are mixing lies with truth to be deceptive. There are those that are blinded by their ego. It doesn't allow them to be wrong. It doesn't allow them to be open to new ideas or working with others or working together. There are those with ulterior motives to gain monetarily with no proof or evidence of their claims. There are those who don't legitimately know the things they're teaching are wrong because they don't actually apply the things that they're teaching to people. There's some people that tell you how you can free yourself from the system, but they don't do it themselves. There are those that vicariously learn through their students. So instead of them going to court or them dealing with law enforcement, they have their students and make sure that they're reporting back all the information so they can compile what is transpired with their students so that they can figure out what works and doesn't work without actually having to put themselves at any sort of risk. There's a lot of that. And the ones that I just mentioned, pretty much, if they really cared about sovereignty, if they really cared about freedom, if they cared about everyone on this planet, if they cared about this situation, they would truly be willing to work together. Because there are those that are open to new information, to admitting that they may be wrong, that will work with others for the greater good. KL is a great example. So in this journey, what I have decided that I'm going to do is I'm going to follow KL's method. So I've ordered my birth certificates, the short form and long form. I need to get ready to do the process of my DBA and name change. Once I do that, I will update everybody as to what I'm doing. I'm also going to be filling out for a passport using the Copper Moonstill's website method with a few additional changes that KL had recommended. So I have a playlist, and everything again that I'm sharing on today's video is linked down below in the video description. This is the playlist with all the videos that I've done with KL. The two previous lessons that I did 2 years ago that were split into 2 parts each are the first 4 videos. And then the last 3 videos are lessons 1, 2, and 3 in 2022. Now, if you were to learn from KL, he's going to make sure that you watch all the videos that I've done with him and all the videos that he's done with Crow 777. So I would encourage you to watch this playlist. You could download these videos. Any videos on Odyssey, you can download them. And I encourage you to watch all 7 videos repetitively until all the information is drilled in your head. There's some information in the first set of lessons in the first 4 videos that are not repeated in the last 3. So that's why I encourage you, and that's why KL will encourage you to make sure that you're watching all these videos. It's on my Odyssey channel, and it's linked in the video description. This is the Copper Moonshine Stills website. I'm not filling it out to get a state citizen passport. I'm filling this out for the 5-star method. I don't like the verbiage that's being used here. And what I did was I contacted KL and asked him to review this and to give me his thoughts and opinions on what I should do. And as far as if the method, because he's actually used this in the past, but I asked him to make sure he read through it to make sure there wasn't anything changed. There wasn't anything different from what he had done or anything different than that he would suggest. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, I'm supposed to be going to Miami in a few weeks, so I'm trying to get some of this done in the next few weeks, but more than likely, the passport, I'm not going to probably have a chance to file until I get back from Miami. I'm going to be trying to work on the DBA and name change next week because this week is crazy. I'm going to be interviewing G. Edward Griffin on Friday. Tomorrow, I've got a crazy day. So, and you can get early access to that G. Edward Griffin interview, the author from Creature from Jekyll Island, by the way, by becoming a patron or joining my private membership. I'll have a little bit of information scrolling across the screen for my Patreon. And make sure you guys do sign up for my mailing list over at ricetvx.com. I want to start my mailing list back up so I can keep everybody updated on what's going on with both of my YouTube channels. So I am going to be doing this passport method with changes that KL suggested. In case you don't know, or this is the first time you're hearing it, at the end of March, I went to go visit KL. I also went to go speak at the Truth Tour 3 in St. Petersburg. So me and Stan Barabbas from Bodhisattva Love, we went down to KL's way and we recorded with him to record all of his private teachings. Now, at this time, those recordings are not going to be released in any fashion until KL gives me permission to do so, and they will not be uploaded on the internet. So just stay tuned for that. But if you would like to learn from KL directly on these videos, I do have his email address. Now, it's in the video description. I will let you know that KL is battling cancer. He has had some really good news. He's had a return of cancer. I think it's throat cancer, specifically what it is. And talking to him yesterday, he was talking about the tumor that was on the left side of his neck that we had seen. Most of it has gone down in size and has been reabsorbed into the skin. And he also has a tumor in his throat. So he's going to keep me updated what's going on, but he said that that is good news. And after the detoxing, he's telling me he's feeling a lot better. We did record a video that is available on Patreon and for private members only. Before we started recording private teachings, I asked KL to talk about some of the people that he recommended as teachers, some people that he learned from and people that he respected. I also shared that information. I think it was part 1 in this series when I shared that. Part 1 went pretty hard as far as talking about people that I support and people I do not support or endorse. And then part 2, I went into detail with all the different people that I've interviewed. Okay, so now I want to go ahead real quick and let people know I will be sharing some information at the end of the video, kind of how, in my opinion, to spot one of these gurus, one of these teachers just trying to get money from people. That's not going to be able to have any fruitful outcome. That's just trying to get donations upon donations. And you see that a lot in this space. And people need to be cautious about the people that they support. Again, I don't have a problem with people monetarily supporting people, but you need to make sure that you're doing good research on the people. So the people that I specifically do not endorse at this time, and I don't really think there's going to be anything that's going to change my mind. And I'll try to give specific reasons without going into full detail, because you can watch parts 1 and 2 to get full details. So first on the list that I do not support or endorse is Russell J. Gould. And I have a playlist. Let me pull this up. This is also on my Odyssey channel as well. So I have a playlist right here with, it's called Fool's Gold. I do have the original 2 interviews that me and Stan Barabbas did with Russell. We were giving him an opportunity to perform since he's been claiming to possess the Title IV flag since 1999, which now is going on like 24 years. And he doesn't perform. We try to give him an opportunity to perform. He ultimately just turned out to be a joke, a fraud, stealing from people, being dishonorable, and attacking my channel. So you can watch these videos. There's also an interview with Sergeant Robert Horton. So if you guys had learned about Russell J. Gould and via War Castles, via Sergeant Robert Horton, he is not involved with Russell J. Gould in any capacity. So I would encourage you to check out that interview in this playlist. In addition to Russell J. Gould, who I just believe is a fraud. He could be controlled opposition at this point. He is definitely doing this for monetary gain. And the quantum grammar community has done a great job at supporting Russell. Now, the quantum grammar, I'm not going to necessarily say is bad, but it's not needed. It's like learning a second language. So if you want to learn Spanish so that you can write your contracts in English and Spanish, go for it. Because on a contract, you can make it simple and you can define words on your in your contract as well, on the document for the contract. So you don't necessarily need to learn a language like quantum grammar, which would take you a lifetime to be able to learn it, even if you're learning something properly, because it's not as if any English teachers or anything to that, any English instructors, anything to that effect, grammar instructors are saying that quantum grammar is the way to the future. And quantum grammar would only be necessary, if necessary, in contracts. That would be the only purpose. The other person that I do not support or endorse is David Straight. I believe personally he is, and also I'll put in the same category Anavon Rights. I believe they're controlled opposition. I believe they've gotten in trouble. In my opinion, something has happened or they've been approached and they're spreading misinformation, disinformation. They're mixing truth with lies on purpose to be deceptive. That is my opinion. I've dealt with David Straight. He was supposed to come on my channel several times in 2020 and 2021. Never showed up for the interviews. Once information started getting out about him not being a Navy SEAL and all this other information, I reached out to him to try to get him to provide some proof of these things, his claims. And he was very defensive and ultimately was very argumentative with me. I gave Bobby Lawrence, I believe is his name, an opportunity to possibly defend David Straight, and he didn't want. Once I mentioned why I contacted Bobby, that was it. And it was Ann Vandersteel that connected me and Bobby, which KL has been trying to speak with Ann Vandersteel to try to help her to be less confused by the situation that David Straight and Bobby Lawrence has put her under. In addition, on part 1 of this series, I go into detail about David Straight and a bunch of information about his process, about one of his daughters, her legal situation for felony charges of child neglect or abuse. There's a lot of information. Also, David lying about the fact that he was a Navy SEAL or even in the military at all, which is stolen valor. So check out part 1 if you want more details about that. Anavon Rights, again, either she has mental problems or she's controlled opposition. It's one of the two. Either she lives in some fantasy land and doesn't really realize what reality is. Somebody asked me why I left the interviews with Anavon Rights up on my Odyssey channel. I'm not going to be re-uploading them to Rice Against the Grain. I will be re-uploading, and I have re-uploaded previous interviews on Rice Against the Grain that were on Rice TVX. I'm not going to be doing that with the Anavon Rights interviews, but they are on Odyssey, because even with David Straits and Anavon Rights and a lot of the people I want to mention, when I say they're mixing truth with lies, if you have wisdom and discernment and you can use critical thinking and fact checking and research, then you can figure out what is the truth that these people are saying, because there is some good, useful information that's coming out of these individuals' mouths. In order for them to be successful in what they're doing, you have to mix lies with truth. That's my opinion when it comes to that. Got to mix lies with truth. So there are lots of truths there. You just need discernment, critical thinking. You need to be able to think for yourself. You need to not just believe something because somebody said it. So that's why I leave the interviews with Anavon Rights up on Odyssey. Another individual I do not support is Ian Clifford Stamp from Matrix Freedom. I go into detail about that on the other video, part 1. There's a website that you guys can check out. That's Matrix Freedom Review. I was going to bring on Simon White Rabbit, Spaniard White Rabbit Trust, whatever his name is, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm going to continue beating a dead horse. You guys can check this information out yourself if you would like to. Somebody put together a lot of helpful information about Matrix Freedom. If you want to learn more about what I'm saying, you can check out the interview that I did with Simone Marshall. You could find that on my Odyssey, Rumble, and my BitChute channels. I'll go ahead and show you on Rumble. It is the interview that I did with Simone from Empower the People. She was formerly involved. Here it is. She was formerly involved with Matrix Freedom, and she shares some information with that as well. I'll go ahead and throw that in the live chat. Again, live chat people, I appreciate you tuning in. I will be coming back to the live chat here after I'm done covering everything I'm talking about, which isn't too far away. So if you want to learn more about Matrix Freedom, check out this interview with Simone Marshall. Matrix Freedom and Ian Clifford Stamp did successfully get the video taken down off of my YouTube channel, just so you're aware of that, with copyright claims. I was thinking about trying to fight it. It could lead into some legal issues, and it's not worth my time. The video is still over on Rumble, as you see. It is also available on my Odyssey channel as well. You just go to the content section and scroll down. And you see it's right there. It's also on my Rice Against the Grain Rumble channel. And it's on my BitChute channel too. So even though Ian Clifford Stamp was successful in getting the video removed from YouTube, it's still on the internet. And it can still be seen by everybody. And I encourage you to make sure you're checking it out. Okay, where are we at? All right, something else that I want to suggest that people check out is howtowinIncourt.com. I did do an interview with Dr. Frederick Graves, the creator of this course, the How to Win in Court interview. It's on all my platforms as well. I will make sure I put a link. Let me make sure I copy this bad boy. I have a referral link. Now, when I talk about saying I'm going to be staying away and very cautious of entities that are charging, if somebody is offering an educational course that is going to be helpful information, that is going to help empower you with knowledge, that's not going to provide you with hopium or any sort of false claims of sovereignty. This is specifically just a course that is specifically designed to help you to understand how to win in court without a lawyer. There's testimonials. There's an About Us section. It's $249. That's it. So when I see something like this, that's inexpensive, that's got good information, that's worth the money that you'll be paying for this, then I will promote it. And if I'm going to promote it, knowing that I'm calling out people as frauds and scammers, if I'm promoting something, then you should know that I've done my research and that this is something worth looking into. And it's a way that you can support the channel. Okay, so let me go ahead and continue on with some of these people that I don't endorse. I do not endorse Darren Clifford and Divergent 5 or Divergent or DI5 or whatever they're called. I do respect and love his brother, Dean Clifford. And Dean's been on the show several times. I will be reposting the interviews I did with Dean Clifford. And I do support and endorse Dean Clifford, but I do not support or endorse Darren Clifford at all from Divergent. If they're even still around, they've not proven anything, any of their claims. They've not proven any of it. And it's been going on for years. If you didn't get access, if you didn't get the email and the information from my private website, I've got that scrolling across the bottom of the website. So I tried to get Darren on a while back when I started hearing negative things from people that were involved, that no longer are involved, that were kicked out of their little club. And Darren really didn't want to come on the channel and do that. Instead, we had harsh words with each other. I've not heard anything good come out of it. The people that are involved, it seems very cult-like. As a matter of fact, all the people that seem to be, I can't say all, but the majority of people that seem to be involved with David Straight, Russell J. Gould, Ian Clifford Stamp, Anna Von Reitz, Darren Clifford, seem to be in cults, like Kool-Aid drinking cults, like some Jim Jones stuff. That's just my opinion. The other individual I do not support or endorse is Robert Michael from the House of Marcus, REM Private Management, or whatever he's calling his situation right now. He has been very dishonorable towards promises made to me. He's apparently told his community there were no such agreements or promises, but I've got text messages from him admitting there was an agreement and admitting that he just wasn't going to honor it anymore, that his life has changed and he was no longer going to honor any agreements that we had made. And it was simple agreements with providing information to me in regards to a private membership association and also some information regarding a trust. And I told him I would contact him when I was ready to do it. And I'd also been trying to reach out to him to get a follow-up interview because he had been dealing with a court case that I think it was in Kansas, if I'm not mistaken, where he had dealt with a misdemeanor traffic violation. He ended up getting charged with whatever it was, and he said that he did this on purpose so that he can make an example out of the situation. Well, long story short, he ultimately lost. He didn't appear at one of his court dates and had a failure to appear for his arrest. He goes to court. He's found guilty for whatever the misdemeanor traffic violation is and the failure to appear. And I think he did 2 weeks in jail. Now, he knew I wanted to talk about that. And I don't think he wanted to come on my show and talk about it because he said he was going to use that particular situation as an example of how to get through the system, because he was saying to everybody he was highly knowledgeable. Now, one, if you can't get out of a simple misdemeanor traffic violation without a failure to appear, saying that you're going to make an example out of this, then there's something wrong, and you're trying to teach people about sovereignty. So here in just a minute, I'm going to be sharing something so that you can point out stuff that are scams, so that you can notice something where somebody is just trying to get donations for nothing, saying they're going to do something that's literally out of their reach, but making it sound good and positive so you'll donate. So I want to make sure I covered everything in detail that I wanted to cover, and I think I did. The different types of people in the legal fiction space. Just because somebody appears on my show doesn't mean I endorse them. How I'm going to be operating moving forward, the different types of teachers who I do and don't support. Also, Ethan Lucas is somebody who I need to have a conversation with. At this time, I'm pausing him coming on Spirituality of Law. He's apparently offering in some sort of life law courses, and I can't endorse them in any way. I've only known Ethan for a few years, but when I met Ethan, he was getting information from Robert Michael. And somehow, over some recent conversations that I've had with him on Spirituality of Law, over the past few months, Ethan is like talking about 20 years experience. I'm not really sure where that 20 years experience comes from. And there's some things that I need to clarify with Ethan before moving forward. So some people have asked me about Ethan's methods and teachings, and I have no clue what Ethan teaches or his methods. And I cannot and will not endorse anything that Ethan is putting out there without me being able to look at it first. And that would first have to mean that we can get past the issue that I'm having with him, that I'm not discussing with everybody publicly out of respect until I speak with Ethan directly about it. Now, Ethan has reached out to me to try to have this conversation. I've avoided it because I wanted to make sure that emotionally I wasn't going to let let my feelings come through. I wanted to make sure that I was going to be in a good state of mind when I had this conversation, because it's just not some really good things that I had found out that just I've got to end up dealing with, getting past, or moving on. But again, when I met him, he was just learning from Robert Michael. He was supposedly involved in working with Kim Gogan and Tank with Life Force and United News Network, but then stopped being involved with them. And that's originally how we met. But at the time, he didn't seem to have 20 years experience. And this is just like 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago, Ethan Lucas did not appear to have 20 years legal experience. Now, all of a sudden, he does. I question that. And I question anything that he's selling and not giving away, being that I know that he's been learning from other individuals. If you like what Robert Michael was doing, learn from Ken Cousins. If you like that concept of what Robert Michael is doing, Ken Cousins from Gemstone University and Pantera PCA, which I talk about, I believe, on part 1 of this series. Okay, so we're at 42 minutes, and I definitely don't want to keep this thing going. So I want to share. Okay. I said I was going to talk to you about a scam. Now, there are 2 YouTubers that I've been checking out. A guy named Jay Griff and Aaron Apke. They've been talking about the legal fiction. They've been talking about a lot of the things that I've been researching for years on their channels. Now, Aaron Apke has a fairly large YouTube channel. Jay Griff does not. I've spoken with Jay Griff on Instagram. Tried to do some shows with him. The guy's kind of pompous. I offered to come on his show to share my research and information that I've learned, and he was really pompous about me offering to come on his show. So he doesn't allow people that offer themselves to come on his show to come on his show. I had reached out to him right before that to warn him, because I had seen this post on Instagram that was related to Aaron Apke that had Robert Michael on it, where they were promoting this website. And I commented on the Instagram post telling Aaron Apke that he's promoting a scam. I reached out, and there was no response to that comment, which is public. Then I reached out to Jay Griff, telling him to contact Aaron, let him know that the website he's promoting is fraud. It's bullshit. He said he knew. He doesn't understand why Aaron was promoting it, but him and Aaron work together. Now, Aaron's not responding to me. Jay Griff is a pompous ass for whatever reason. Not sure what his deal is. I offered again to share some information with him. I shared some of my interviews, links. I shared the KL interviews. I mean, this is some of the best information out there when it comes to the legal fiction, and he just wanted to dismiss it. So it is what it is. But with that being said, they're promoting straight up scams. Well, I shouldn't say they, not Jay Griff, because Jay Griff wasn't involved with this, but Aaron Apke was promoting the scam. And it makes me question, like, is he a part of this? Is he getting a cut of this? Because anybody with any logical sense would know that what I'm about to share with you is a straight up scam. It's a way to raise money with not being able to do the things that you're saying you're going to do. So here it is. It's this website. And listen, if you're watching this and you go to this website and you donate, you are an idiot. All right. Also, if you're not one of the individuals that I mentioned, that the types of people interested in illegal fiction, if you're one of those people that's in some sort of legal trouble, some sort of problem with the law, and you're getting involved with this to get out of it, I can't help you. If you're involved with CPS issues, I can't help you, whether or not it is or isn't your fault. If you're trying to access some trust account out of greed, I can't help you. But if you're somebody who's genuinely interested in learning and that you're willing to actually put in the work to learn and do what you need to do, then I would love to help you help yourself. So, with that being said, if you're donating to this website in any way, you're an idiot. What if I told you that you're not as free as you think? It's time to break the chains of economic slavery. Join our movement to take control from the elites and reclaim your divine inheritance. It's time to fight against powerful groups controlling economic systems that keep people enslaved. Join our movement, take back control, and empower yourself for a better future. Your contribution to funding our legal team and finding a solution to this age-old problem can make a difference in our fight for economic freedom and prosperity. And every dollar counts, people. Donate now. Donate now, because 100% of the donations go directly to litigation. And this is a message from Robert Michael. As the elitist intensifies their efforts to silence and suppress us, join the fight. One, this debt-based slave economic system goes back long time. Robert Michael, who can't even win in a minor traffic violation case, thinks he's going to take on the banking elite of the world. Robert Michael thinks that he and his legal team can actually end the economic slavery with a federal lawsuit against the federal government, a federal lawsuit against the Federal Reserve. Are you kidding me? So again, donate now. Notice how many donate buttons there are. Now you can listen to this bullshit message because it's a bullshit message and it straight up mixes lies with truth, because he's talking about these gurus that sell you bad information. He's one of them. He's one of them. So as you scroll down, it's a bunch of bullshit information. They're a virtual organization. Their team members are located in different parts of the world. However, our work has global implications. As we focus on addressing the issue of economic enslavement, which affects people from different countries and backgrounds, but yet they're talking about a federal lawsuit, which is in the United States. So I'm not sure how that's dealing with other nations. Why should you donate? Because it would be funding their legal team to do something that is going to be literally impossible for this individual to do. There is absolutely no way that Robert Michael and his little crew of people are going to be able to take on the banking elite. Why do you think Bitcoin was created? And Robert Michael can't get out of a traffic violation, but yet he wants you to donate to his litigation fund. Now, what he's going to offer you in return: join the movement and reclaim your economic freedom. 3 key reasons to donate to our legal fund: dedication, research, and progress. Bullshit, bullshit, and bullshit. And it says here, unlock the power of your divine inheritance with your donation. Get our certificate of trust, a revocable living trust, and a complete set of Black's Law's dictionary, all for free if you donate. All for free if you donate. Just so you know, I like to use pre-search. Revocable living trust and how it can be used to protect your assets. Should you set up a revocable living trust? Well, there's an article about it, so you can do your own research. You can actually get the information for free by searching for it on pre-search. If you prefer to support big tech, you can do it on Google as well. But a revocable living trust is bullshit. It's bullshit. It means nothing. The other thing that's being offered, let me go back to the website, is your certification of trust, which again, if you look that up, certification of trust template, free certificate of trust form, free certificate of living trust template, certificate of trust, e-trust, certificate of trust, how to complete a trust certification. Okay, you don't need to donate to Robert Michael's bullshit cause to get these things for free when you can get them free yourself. Okay. The other thing that he is offering to give you if you donate to his cause is a complete set of Black's Law's dictionary, all for free. Well, check this out. Black's Law Dictionary PDF download. Okay, if you go to the Wikipedia, you'll see there are 11 editions. Search for each and individual edition, and you can download the PDF for free yourself. Okay, here is the newest one, 2019's Black Law Dictionary 11th edition. Okay, download the file. You see what it looks like? Just so you see here, it is a 332-page document. Download by PDF, download PDF mirror link, download a Word document. We're processing your document. Okay, so if I want to find 3rd edition, you can find a Black's Law Dictionary 3rd edition and download it. If you want to buy it, you can buy it. But here's the downloadable version right here. And I'm sure there's several different downloadable versions. What I'm telling you is all these things that are being offered here for free, if you donate to this bullshit cause, you can get yourself for free. Okay? Because this is just bullshit. There's no way that Robert Michael is going to be able to take on the federal government. Okay? You can also, can you sue the government? Because when it really, really, really comes down to it, under traditional English common law, the doctrine called sovereign immunity prevented citizens from suing the king. Sovereign immunity was incorporated into American law as well, imposing limits on lawsuits against government agencies or employees. So I'm telling you, there's no way that Robert Michael is going to be able to bring out a federal lawsuit against the Federal Reserve or the federal government in any capacity when it comes to the monetary system. Even though it's all based on debt, even though it's all units of account, even though it's all fiat, it's not backed by precious metals. We all know this. You can donate all you want to Robert Michael, but all you're going to be doing is fattening him and his team's pocket because they're not going to be able to do anything, and there is no actual plans to actually do anything. It's all bullshit. Because all Robert Michael has showed me is bullshit. Like, I've not seen anything come out of Robert Michael's camp that actually shows success. All I see is failures. Now, can you learn from your failures? Yes, you can. You can. But I believe that Robert Michael is one of these people with an ulterior motive to gain monetarily with no proof or evidence of their claims. Because Robert Michael was going to use this simple traffic violation as a way to show everybody how superior his legal and law knowledge is. Also, Robert Michael is working with an attorney. And in order to effectively sue the federal government, you need to have an attorney involved, which is a member of the Bar Association. Right? So that's been less than an hour. I've covered everything I think I want to cover. If this is the first time you're catching any of this information, you definitely need to make sure you're checking out parts 1 and 2. There are a playlist down below in the video description, and I'm not really sure why my throat is all of a sudden just is hurting, but it sounds like I've been screaming. Let me grab me a drink. I meant to do this a little bit ago. I'm going to pull this up and just figure out the time, how much time these two videos are. So one is 40, 48, that's 88, that's an hour and 20, 2, 3, 4. It's like 4.5 hours, I guess. It's a lot. I mean, both parts, but I'm telling you, I've been researching, interviewing, and interacting for years in the legal fiction space, the law studies. I talked to a lot of important individuals, interviewed a lot of these individuals. Me and Ken Cousins have spoken. The only person I haven't spoken to that I've recommended is Yusuf L from High Frequency Radio and SPC University. That's the only individual I haven't spoken to that I endorse and support. And that man is a powerhouse. Not everybody can grasp his personality. He can be harsh at times, but he knows his shit. Everybody else I've dealt with, I've either interacted with them, spoken with them, have their numbers. I have Ken Cousins' number. I have David Straight's number. I have Bobby Lawrence's number. I've talked with all these people. I've interviewed these people. I've interviewed Russell J. Gould, Anna von Reitz. I've done a lot of research, and I have a lot of information to share. And I try to let it all out. I will tell you that I just wanted to do a summary to kind of put it together. So watching this would entice somebody to watch parts 1 and 2 in their fullness, in their entirety, because everything that I share on parts 1 and 2 were very therapeutic for me, because the journey that I have been on since 2020 solidly. Now, I was researching the law stuff prior to that, but solidly since 2020 with my research, it's taken its toll on me in a lot of different ways. And with that being said, being able to let all the information out was really releasing some weight off my shoulders, and it was much needed, and it made me feel a lot more refreshed for moving forward. So the interview that I do with Luke Scott, that's going to be coming out tomorrow, I think you guys will enjoy that. There's a lot of learning, and there's a lot of spirituality involved with the talk. It's a really good conversation. This guy was a former Major League Baseball player. He was involved with the Baltimore Orioles, got in some mainstream trouble for talking about Obama and his birth certificate and other things. We talk about that, his legal fiction journey, and spiritual warfare. Got all kinds of other things that I've got planned for future interviews. I'm going to be interviewing Payman from Freedom Law School. He's going to be sharing his insights into the legal fiction as well as the IRS. I'll probably be releasing that interview on both channels. With that being said, make sure you subscribe to both of my YouTube channels, Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain. I was able to keep the majority of this under that hour mark, man, which is nice. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the live comments, go through what everybody has to say, and then we're going to wrap up the video. But if the only reason you would need to continue watching from this point forward, if you're watching the replay, is because you're interested in what I have to say with the people that are watching the video. So I've covered everything that you guys need to know. Ronnie, thank you for sharing that link. Ava Terra, have you had any pushback from Ian Clifford stump at Matrix Freedom? Yes, I have had some pushback. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and pull up the email. Where I had the copyright takedown. Yeah, I mean he's acting like he's going to take me to court, but I'm not even sure how he thinks he's going to do that. But I welcome him to try to take me to court. He's more than welcome. So here is the interview. Here's the email. Let me go ahead and screen share this bad boy. I've also got these from Russell J. Gould, but he was not successful in having my video taken down. For whatever reason, this one was. So it says, hi, Rice Against the Grain. Due to a copyright takedown notice that we received, we had to take down your video from YouTube, helping to empower the people with Simone Marshall. Takedown issued by Matrix Freedom. Do you see that? Takedown issued by Matrix Freedom. Yeah, they were successful in getting the video taken down on YouTube, but it's on 2 places on Rumble, it's on BitChute, and it's on Odyssey, and it's on Library. So, Ian, good luck removing it from the internet. And I did tell you. So I got a copyright strike for this. I can do a counter notification, but it could start a legal proceeding. It's not worth my time and an effort, in my opinion. So, hope that answers your question, Ava Terra. In my opinion, Ian is a piece of shit. He does not practice what he preaches. He's one of those individuals who vicariously learns from others and their students. And he has no proof of his claims. I believe he also has an ulterior motive to gain monetarily. He seems to have been like that for several years. But that's just my opinion. And you know what they say about opinions, right? David, appreciate you tuning in. Got to go through the vetting process to get to the truth. I want to revisit this conversation with you, David, since you looked back into the sovereignty movement years ago. Now that you've seen kind of like my therapeutic venting, maybe I'd like to see what you have to say about all this. Ronnie, thanks again for everything. Blue Water Pines 2 rewatch. Thank you for filming. Have you seen Joe Imbriono's film on man getting pulled over and stating SS, then getting X'd? Not really 100% sure what you're talking about, but you're more than welcome to email me information so I can check it out. Question: if my friend used his debit card to pay for a needed prescription for me, then how does his bank have my banking information? He did it through a pharmacy manager via tele. Well, the only way that his banks has, how does his bank have my banking information? I don't know. I'm not really sure. If you just literally use somebody else's debit card to pay for a prescription, I don't know how to answer that question, my friend. Bodhisattva, I appreciate. Hello, Kant. What is that? Me and I want to call you in a little bit, Stan. Me and Stan's supposed to be recording tomorrow, and that will be available on Patreon and for private members. I'll have some information scrolling across the bottom of the screen for the private membership, and then I'll have some information scrolling across for my Patreon channel. And then I may release that publicly sometime next week. It's a data breach. I grilled my bank, and I'm not getting secured information. It's very, very off. Take your money out of the bank, man. Quit using that bank. Start using maybe a local credit union, or you can actually just put it all in something like Cash App and not even use a bank, because the Cash App will offer you a checking account. You have an account and routing number using Cash App. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you're taking advantage of my How to Win in Court referral link. Thank you, Chris. The amount of money I have put forth in good faith and trust has been squandered by their lawyers at my expense. It's unfortunately, man. Alphonse on bar grievances plus how to win in court. Remove the lawyer's POA. If it's a trust, then you can sue. Where are you located at, Blue Water Pines 2? Are you in the U.S.? Trying to scroll through the comments. My assumption is he believes in Robert Michael and is not insightful into the subject matter himself, like I was, and like the majority interest in the subject matter is ignorance. To a degree, but Aaron Apke and Jay Griff both seem to understand the monetary system. They do seem to understand that it's based on debt and usury. They understand that this goes back for quite some time, as far as Babylonian Wall of the Merchants. And if you think If I mean, there's no way that somebody can look at this and not see that what that was a scam. Aaron Apke should have obviously known better. And you know, who if somebody knows this and you know Aaron Apke or you are in his community, share this information with them. Have Aaron reach out to me. I've tried to message Aaron and I try to comment on his Instagram post. And like I said, Jay Griff, he's something else. He's something else. Maximum law, he can. In that case, then I shouldn't even say people that I don't endorse, because then you just allow people to just get deceived by people like Davis J, like Anna Von Run, like Robert Michael, like Ian Clifford Stamp, and like David, Darren, and all these other BS people. First crypto white paper wasn't Satoshi's. It was a 1996 white paper published by the NSA called How to Mint a Cryptography, an Anonymous Electronic Cash. Food for thought. It wasn't the first white paper, though. The godfather of cryptography, David Chaum. You can check out his 1982 and 1983 dissertation papers, and you can also look at eCash as well. Anyone saying they're going to end the system is delusional. It's way too big for anyone to topple it. It would take a major awakening event to cause a rift. It would take everybody. It would have to take everybody. And again, if you can't get out of a simple traffic violation, I don't think that you're going to be effective against the federal government or central banks. I don't know, Cheryl. Ask Robert Michael why he couldn't get out of it. Ask Robert Michael why he did 2 weeks in jail and also had a failure to appear. The U.S. government does everything per their jurisdiction allows. Only the ignorant subjects allow them to do it, then complain while voluntarily submitting and contracting by way of ignorance. You are the problem. You are the solution. Stop playing the victim and do the diligence to become the victor. I love it, man. Dime Bar says RM could have got out of it, in my opinion, if you want it. So it still sounds like he sets the cops up. Robert Michael could have got out of it if you want it. Then why would he have done 2 weeks in jail? That makes no fucking sense. No sense. Dime, that's probably one of the first times I would say I disagree with you wholeheartedly. Again, I don't know. I wasn't there. And Robert Michael is choosing not to communicate with me. But Robert Michael was very specific in the interviews that I did with him, and several interviews, of how he was going to use this as an example, how he was going to be successful, and quite the opposite has turned out. Now he's trying to just get funds. He wants you to donate to his bullshit cause. I mean, I'm just so fed up with some of this stuff. I'm not sure what you mean, Blue Water Pines. You're more than welcome to email me and I can clarify that. It depends on what you're referring to. Yes, Yusuf L charges money, but his information is some of the most valuable information out there. I don't have a problem with people charging. I have a problem with people selling hopium and selling cookie cutter template solutions and not actually getting the people to learn and do the work. Yusuf is going to get you to learn and do the work. He's reached out to me. I will reach back out to him, but I'm not in a hurry to necessarily be interviewing a bunch of new people. So he is on the list, and I definitely will be at some point doing my research and vetting process with this individual. I had to make sure this individual is on the up and up. I've had some people suggest different individuals, and I appreciate the suggestions, but all of these people have to go through a vetting process. And I'm doing everything by myself with 2 channels, traveling in a few weeks. So please be patient. I will be getting in touch with all these individuals, and I will be going through a vetting process. And if they do not pass my sniff test, that'll just be it. I'll let people know that so-and-so did not pass my sniff test, and here's why. I definitely want to get him on the show. Thanks for sharing, Fred Mitchell. I appreciate you. Jared Poole, thank you, my friend. I appreciate the nice, kind words. Yeah, Dime has witnessed a lot of these emails. I forwarded him, and I think he was added in on this. I've had to block Ian on Skype and email now. It just turned into straight up harassment. It is the most ridiculous stuff that this supposedly grown up individuals is talking about. Fred, you can email me some information. My email is at the very bottom of the screen, scrolling across, along with the information from my private website. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate everybody for being here. You're doing an awesome job trudging through all the garbage out there to get truth. I agree. KL seems really to have seriously promising information. He knows the stuff. It appears to work. He's shown me more proof than anyone else. I have to actually apply the methods myself to be able to know if these things actually work. But I've heard from a lot of his current and former students who have nothing but praise to say about the teachings and everything that they've learned. So, another thing is too, is I don't really necessarily want to sit here and call people out. Like, that is not something that I look forward to. I'm not a perfect individual. I'm not clean as a whistle. I'm not white as a wool cloth. I don't feel like anybody should be in a position to necessarily be calling out each other. And it really weighs heavy on my heart thinking that I'm judging other individuals. And then I have to reflect and realize it's not the individuals, but it's their fruits. You will know them by their fruits, their actions, the things that they do will show you who these individuals are. And again, if these individuals, these teachers, these gurus were in it for the right reason, they would be willing to work together. They would be open to new information, and admitting something that they might have thought was the right way may in fact be wrong. The truth doesn't need to be defended. All right, go through the last bit of the comments. Again, thank you for joining, everybody. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. I thought you talked to Robert Michael about that. He isn't answering. No, I haven't. No, the last time I talked to Robert Michael was in regards to one, to get him back on the show. He told me he wasn't doing interviews, but he ended up doing one with Beth Martins, and then he did some with some other people, and which made me think he was avoiding to do the interview with me because I was going to ask him about the traffic violation, the misdemeanor that he ended up going to jail for during 2 weeks. And when I realized that wasn't happening, I went ahead and said, because I knew where this was headed, I went ahead and said, that information that we agreed that you would supply to me. And the reason this agreement came about, that Robert Michael had agreed, not initially before he came on my show, but after we started doing videos together, I did consider Robert Michael my friend. I really did. And then when I came in contact with my friend after he didn't want to do any interviews with me, and then hey, can you get me that information that you told me you would get me in regards to the private membership association so I can set that up, and some information on these trusts that you told me you were going to send me, and then him specifically saying that he wasn't going to honor them, that really, really disappointed me. I already knew there was flaws in his methods. And that was another thing too, is he was really butthurt that I didn't specifically get involved with his PMA, which I didn't specifically get involved with anybody's group. And I told him that I wasn't involved in anybody's groups and I wasn't planning on it. So, and that's something that Stan Bodhisattva Love can attest to. A reminder, hit those like buttons. Definitely need to start wrapping this thing up. This was not the plan to go this long. Not the plan at all. But I covered the majority of what I needed to cover in a shorter amount of time. I think the summary of the first 2 episodes, in my opinion, was really good. Paying for knowledge is not the problem. It's paying for being fleeced is. Yes. And there's lots of people that are taking money to provide bad information. Useless information is on the internet as well. I'd like to see cases one is all I'm saying kindly. Cheryl, check out his YouTube channel, High Frequency Radio. Yusuf is by far, I mean, I would say like one of the most knowledgeable people in this space. People like him, Dean Clifford, KL. These are some people that I think are providing some of the, or have provided some of the best information out there. You're good, my friend. You're good. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And I think that's about it. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video. I do want to remind you to make sure that you're checking out the videos that have been released on both Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain. I'm going to do a quick screen share. I thought I had it already, but I remembered that I changed the screen share. So here we are at Rice TVX. I did an interview yesterday live with Gareth Soloway. I did a video about the income tax being voluntary, where I'm sharing some information from a Senate hearing and an ex-IRS commissioner. My video about the fourth turning, and there's also videos about central bank digital currencies. Under the videos tabs, you will find my interview with ex-IRS special agent Joe Bannister, the man who beat the IRS. My speech from Crypto Mindset Reset 2. The views are down on the channel, so I would greatly appreciate it if you missed any videos to go check them out. Over here on Rice Against the Grain, lots of reposts. My speech from Truth Tour 3 that took place in St. Petersburg, and my speech from Truth-a-thon 3 are right here in the video section. And over on the live section is where you will find the You Can't Handle My Truth Part 1 and 2. The playlist section, I've done my playlist very well for everybody to be able to find all the information. Make sure that you are subscribed on my Rumble channel. That would be greatly appreciated. We are live on Rumble. I did mean to check and make sure that that was going through okay. And it looks like everything is good to go on Rumble. I did mean to check that. So yeah, we're live streaming on Rumble and YouTube. Totally off on this. Make sure you're following me on Rumble. Make sure you're following me on Odyssey. Make sure you're following me on BitChute. And you can check out my Patreon channel. 3 different levels of membership. Only do month by month. And once I have that private website built, I will be phasing out Patreon in the next 90 days afterwards. There are some free videos that you guys can check out. Some free videos. So head on over to my Patreon channel and check all that out. And again, everything that we talk about on today's show is linked down below in the video description. The public courts will never admit to or disclose private remedies. Dean Clifford's great. You're welcome. Thank you so much, Ronnie. I appreciate you being in the house. I appreciate you moderating. You as well, Time Bar. Just trying to find my throat spray. This stuff has honey, echinacea, and ginger. Good for the throat. Eon has some good stuff as well as Yusuf. I'm not really sure who EEON is. All right, man. I think that's about it. Thanks for tuning in. Greatly appreciate. I'm going to be putting out the interview with Luke Scott tomorrow. If you want to get early access to it unedited, you can do so. Write me out over on my Patreon channel or by becoming a private member. Other than that, just still trying to figure out the rest of the week. I do have an interview coming up Friday with G. Edward Griffin. It will be my third interview with him, the author from The Creature from Jekyll Island. People that are patrons and lifetime members will get early access unedited before it gets released publicly sometime the following week. Next week, I'm going to be interviewing Paymon from Freedom Law School next Monday. That's going to be available early access to patrons and private members as well. And I got some other special guests coming up over the next week or so that I'll be announcing. So just stay tuned. Greatly appreciate you joining. Make sure you subscribe here at Rice TVX or here at Rice Against the Grain and on my other channel, Rice TVX. Sometimes it can get a little confusing, but it's all things Rice. So before we wrap this up, thank you again for joining in for today's live stream. I encourage you, as always, to be a blessing to others. Treat people how you want to be treated. Imagine the world if everybody treated everybody how they wanted to be treated. Imagine that world. Be the glitch that you want to see in the Matrix. Be the change that you want to see in the world. And until next time, meow.